Welcome to Azeroth United, a weekly podcast about World of Warcraft. My name is Denethar, and I am your host.
Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. It's Thursday night in Azeroth, and we have a great show lined up for you. We've got a little bit of a shorter show tonight. I went through all of the news that was available, and that things were coming in fast and furious this week. So I'm just going to go through all the different news, and we'll, instead of doing a full main topic of the week, we'll just cover all of the TBC pre-patch information that was released in the last couple of days. So, it'll be fine. Plus all the other news and information about World of Warcraft coming out in the last week. So pull up a chair, sit back, relax, and enjoy. And before I get to any of that news, I will do a very quick rundown of what I got up to last week on World of Warcraft. It was not a huge week for me. I did do some Legion remix. I think I'm at 290 verse right now, which is, it's cool. Like I said before, slapping everything that I come across and having a good time. I have not done Antorus yet. I'll get to that when we get to that point in the news, but I did spend a lot of time on the beta playing around with the interface. It's been a little rough. The interface feels a little weird, and it's just because it's different, and different equals bad for WoW players. But I'm enjoying it. I'm having fun. I'm trying to take it slowly. I am doing some of the storyline, and I'm finding it very interesting how it goes so far. But I haven't progressed through I haven't finished the first zone yet. So I think after I finish the first zone, I might do a review of that. Maybe even do like a special episode or something. Cause I know some people are like, I don't want any spoilers, and that's fine. I don't like to do don't listen for 20 seconds. If I'm going to talk spoilers, I'm going to talk spoilers. So I might do a spoiler episode and just say this whole episode's going to be spoilers. I don't know. We'll see. But that's what's going on there. And I think, that's pretty much it. It's a quiet week. I've been so busy with work, man. I can't even with trying to play this game. I logged on the other night and I just sat in Dalaran at the remix dome area. And I just sat there for, 20 minutes. And then I logged out because I was like, I don't have the energy to do anything. Like, I want to go play, but I'm so exhausted, not tired. My brain is exhausted. So, so that's what's going on there. And then, that's about it. So, that was the whole week. Like I said, not a huge week. And really just kind of putzing around. Most of my time in WoW was spent actually on the beta, testing things, playing around with different things. I have not started playing with add-ons yet. I'll probably start looking for add-ons to mess with this week, just so I can have an idea of how the different add-ons are going to interact with the new system. There is an interview that Ian Hazzikostas did about add-ons that I have not had a chance to go through yet, so I'll probably talk about that next episode. I have a feeling this poor man is going to be doing interviews defending his decision to get rid of add-ons for like the next 10 years. But anyway, so if you are looking for talking about add-ons, I'm not going to do a whole bunch of add-on this week. I'll do that next week, or I'll probably do that next week. So, and then we've got a bunch of releases coming up. We've got patch 11.2.7, which is coming on December 2nd. We've got the phase 3 of Pandaria Classic, which is coming on December 9th. And we'll talk about all this in the news, but there's a lot going on. We even have time walking coming up. Shadowlands time walking is going to be here on December 2nd. We're going to have 10 weeks of time walking. We're going to do every single expansion once. We'll do Shadowlands twice. And there's going to be 4 new Shadowlands mounts. I'll talk about all that stuff probably in the next episode. We'll see. It depends on the schedule. We'll go everything that's coming in time walking and what you can expect and how that's going to work and all that, the rewards and everything. So, if you're sick of Legion Remix already and you want to go back to the War Within and do something, that'll be really fun. So, and that's basically what's going on. So I think it's time to get in the news. Before I get in the news though, and this is going to be a little bit of a more somber topic. So I did want to hit this real quick, and I'm sorry to anyone if I'm not trying to trigger anyone or do any of that stuff, but, so last week I listened to the most recent episode of Solo Queue, which is one of my favorite WoW podcasts, produced and hosted by one of my favorite WoW podcasters, Dave Gagne. Dave is a great guy. I really like him. And in this episode, he talked about his WoW family and all of the people that he's met in his journey in WoW as a solo player, and how he now has this big WoW family, all these people that he knows. He said some very kind words about me and the podcast, and I was very appreciative of that, to be included in his family, and I felt really good about it. And this is not something that I've talked to anyone about, but last year I lost my brother, my younger brother. He had some health complications, wasn't really taking care of himself, and he passed away, and it was very sad, and I had a rough time with it. And his name was Dave. And in a lot of ways, I feel like I lost my brother Dave, but I gained a new brother Dave. So I'm really happy to be part of your family, and honored to be included in that. So thank you very much. And like I said, I'm sorry that this is a little bit more somber, but it hit me in that moment that, you know what, I have a new brother Dave. So thank you. It means a lot. All right, let's move on to the news.
It's time for the news.
In Blizzard news, so it happened. I said something about it last week, and I thought it was just going to be in China, but no. Blizzard have re-released the Traders Gilded Brutosaur Auction House mount back on the store, $90. I don't even know what to say. It's, we just had the whole microtransaction episode, and it was like, you know what? I'm going to be like, I said my piece, and now I'm going to be cool, and I'm not going to bring it up again, because I don't need that. I don't want to be overly negative when it comes to this podcast. I feel like my goal would be to ultimately skew more positive than more negative. That being said, this feels a little more negative. And again, this isn't oh my God, this is terrible, I can't believe Blizzard have done this, because I have one. I have two. I have two Brutosaurs. I bought three because I bought one for my wife too. But it's weird. It's funny that it just happened. Anyway, it's news. So the Traders Gilded Brutosaur Auction House mount is now available for purchase in the Blizzard store for $90 of actual money, not a premium currency. So you spend your normal money. So if you have a BattleNet balance, I think you can use that on here. Yeah. It's it is what it is, folks. It is what it is. So if you didn't get one last time, and you see all these people running around, and you're like, man, I really wish I had a mailbox on demand. Well, now you can. You can get one and enjoy that. It's just $90 US. And like I said last week, I don't know what the conversion rates are on the different currencies. I'm sure I could look it up, but it's $90 here in the US, and it's probably 90 euros too. I don't know how they convert that, but anyway, there you go. If you want one, go get one. If you don't want one, don't get one. At the end of the day, I'm not your dad, and I can't tell you what to do. So, all right, let's. Jeez. The timing was so, because I posted last week's episode, and then like 2 days later this popped up, and I thought, damn it, you bastards. It wasn't even 2 days later. It was the next day. It was, because the episode came out on Sunday, and I think it was Monday. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It's there. It's on the store. In Classic WoW, the Joyous Journeys is returning to Mists of Pandaria Classic. This is in honor of the 21st anniversary celebration that is going on currently. So Blizzard finally realized, hey, wait a minute. We have stuff that we do in modern WoW, but we don't really do anything in Classic. So they're giving you a buff for Mists of Pandaria Classic. So you'll get the Joyous Journeys buff that will increase experience gains by 50% up to level 90. And it's going to run from now until December 9th. So if you have been debating on leveling up a character in Miss Pandaria Classic and you're like, I don't know, I did Cataclysm, but I don't want to do Miss Pandaria. Now's the time. Now is the time to get that character leveled up. I don't know what you're leveling them up for because there's really nothing going on in Miss Pandaria Classic. It's kind of dead right now and it's all very quiet. Oh, wait a minute. Phase 3 of Miss Pandaria Classic will launch on December 9th. Huh. I wonder who called that out. So yes, the Throne of Thunder will be available with Phase 3, which is launching on December 9th. I don't think the raid will be available right away. I think they're going to make you wait to unlock it. Not exactly how sure the timing of that will work. But anyway, December 9th is the launch date for Phase 3. This will include 2 new zones, the Isle of Thunder and the Isle of Giants, 2 new world bosses, Undasta and Nalak. And then there's going to be some new scenarios. There's going to be updates to challenge mode. There's going to be updates to Celestial Dungeons. The Thunder Forging gear upgrade system, which we talked about previously, but if you don't recall, they're going to allow you to get Thunder Forged gear that will be 6 item levels higher than normal gear. Or, I'm sorry, regular gear, because it could drop in normal raid or heroic raid. So it'll be 6 item levels higher, but you can upgrade your gear using, I guess, justice points or badges or what. I don't know how that works. You can upgrade your gear, those 6 item levels, to match the item level of the Thunder Forged gear. So while it will give you an advantage in not having to upgrade your piece of gear, you won't get a piece of gear that is higher and unobtainable for people except through random luck. They want to avoid people feeling bad because I got my BIS, but it's not Thunderforged, so it sucks. Which, I mean, I get that. I understand that feeling. I know that I have to talk about how the min-maxing I feel is ridiculous. I feel like it's kind of foolish to min-max, especially in Classic. It's like, come on. But in this case, I get it. It does feel kind of bad to miss out on a drop because you know there's technically a better one out there. So do I feel like Blizzard needed to do a whole system for it? No. You could have just said, you know what, we're not doing it at all. And I think it would have been fine. But they put it in there. They figured out a way to make it work-ish. So I think it's good. I'm fine with it. And in fact, I feel like this is the type of thing that Blizzard should do more often. Give you a benefit for getting the cool piece of gear, but don't make you suffer for not getting the cool piece of gear, right? You have it cool today, but within, however long somebody else is going to be able to upgrade theirs that was not Thunderforged. I feel like this is a good compromise for this type of situation. So anyway, Thunderforged gear will be available. You're going to be able to continue the legendary quest line with Rathian, and I think this is where you get the gem. And then the Throne of Thunder raid will be available. 12 bosses and final boss is the Thunder King. This is probably one of the best raids of this era of WoW. From Cataclysm to Warlords of Draenor, that 3 expansion arc, right? You have 3 raids that I would consider to be the better raids. You got Firelands, you got Throne of Thunder, and you have was it Blackrock Foundry or Blackhold whatever? Yeah, that one in WoD. All the other ones are okay. Some of them are less okay, like Dragon Soul was less okay. But yeah, the Miss Pandaria raids overall were pretty good. I feel like the only problem they had with raids at Miss Pandaria is that Siege of Orgrimmar goes a little too long. And even in Throne of Thunder, it starts to drag a little bit as you go through the underbelly portions of it's like, okay, this is going a little bit long, but the fights are cool. The encounters are fun and exciting. I really like Throne of Thunder. I think it's a good raid. There's no way. I was thinking I might level up my paladin and see if I can get in on like some pugs or something, but no. No. You know why? Because for me, doing that sort of thing in Classic is not fun. The only reason to do stuff in Classic is if I have a group of people that I want to run stuff with. If I don't have a group, there's no point. I don't see the point in it. So anyway, yeah, this is a big patch. This is a big update. I remember when this one came out thinking that's a lot of stuff to do because you have dailies on the Isle of Thunder. You have stuff to do on the Isle of Giants. The world bosses were fun. The scenarios were okay. I'm glad they kind of ditched scenarios overall after Mists of Pandaria. They realized that like they had the tech already, so they were able to utilize it, but you know, it didn't really add a whole bunch to it. I feel like having delves as the replacement for scenarios, although albeit many expansions later, I feel like delves is a much better way to implement that sort of thing. Which is small content, quick, easy, not a big prep, you don't have to think about it a whole bunch. Just go do it real fast. I like that. It didn't quite work because the scenarios were, I feel like they were limited by the technology that they had created. They created this technology for scenarios and they were like, yeah, it's actually not that great. So anyway, and then, yeah, I don't know. I forgot to look the challenge mode. I know they're adding more stuff to the challenge mode. It's not the armor sets. It's something else. Anyway, it doesn't matter. If you're doing challenge mode, you already know what it is. So, and then the Celestial Dungeons, there will be updates to those as well. And Celestial Dungeons, for those of you who are not playing Pandaria Classic, that's like their Mythic Plus version of the dungeons. It just makes them harder. You can get the previous raid tiers, gear, and or is it the 10-player gear? Anyway, doesn't matter. That's what's coming in Mists of Pandaria Classic Phase 3 on December 9th, just when I said it would launch. Just saying. It's not like I know anything special. I just did math. But still, it's kind of nice to be validated. So, you know. All right. And then the last bit of Classic news before we're going to jump away from Classic after this. We'll come back for the TBC stuff. On the Anniversary and Hardcore Realms, there is a new world buff, which is the Unrelenting Rallying Cry of the Dragon Slayer. So this is a world buff that does not go away. And so it gives you a permanent Oni buff, and it's going to last until November 24th. So it's just a week, but it's for the 21st anniversary, same thing. So instead of giving you an XP buff, they didn't want to do that. So they give you the Rallying Cry buff, which I think that's a pretty cool deal. You know, that way you can not have to worry about booning that particular one. It's fine. Not that there's so many people playing Anniversary anymore. The numbers have definitely gone down, but it's still cool that they did that. So, all right. So like I said, we'll skip over TBC. We'll come back to that. In the War Within. So speaking of the 21st anniversary events, there is a new armor, or it's the same armor vendors before, but there's a new set of armor on the armor vendor for the Loyal Watchman set. It costs 230 Time Warp badges for the whole set. You have to buy each piece individually. But this is the same armor vendor that sells the tier 2, which are now available for purchase with Time Warp badges. So if you have 400 Time Warp badges and you didn't get some of the tier 2 sets last year, you can get them now, 400 per. It's not a bad deal, honestly. I think I'm missing 1 or 2 sets, so I'll probably just go pick those up. And yeah, so there you go. Aside from that, the anniversary event, there's really nothing different from last year's. It's not quite as big with the whole bronze thing and all that, but all the events are the same. There's the mount off, the storytelling, and all of that stuff. So it's still really cool to go out there to Tanaris, to the Caverns of Time. Check out the 21st anniversary event. The best part about it is the trivia question. So if you don't know, the trivia question is you ask, I forget which NPC it is. One of them has a quest. It's a daily quest to ask you a very simple trivia question about World of Warcraft. 90% of them you probably already know just from playing the game. Some of them you might have to look up on Wowhead. But if you get it wrong, it's okay. You just talk to the NPC again and they'll ask you a different question. So, and then when you do it, it gives you a big chunk of XP. Which is nice because if you have an alt who's just been sitting around, maybe you had a Dragonflight alt that you haven't managed to level up to level 80 yet, and maybe you logged on to them and they were still in Tanaris from last year's anniversary event. I'm just saying. Then yeah, this is a really good time to do it because you get the XP buff. from the anniversary. So you, I believe you have to talk to the person. So you get like 10%, and then you talk to them, you get another 10%. And then there's also the trivia question, which gives you XP. You could do that. It takes you 30 seconds to do everything. You log in, 30 seconds, and then you're done. You log out. If you want, you could go do all the world bosses. So there's the green dragons, the Dragons of Nightmare from Vanilla WoW. There's the 2 original world bosses, which is Azurgos and Lord Kazak. And then they added in the Shah of whatever, fear, anger, disappointment, and Doomwalker. Yeah, it's Doomwalker. So those are all available for you to go kill. You can get drops off of those. I believe they drop veteran gear, but don't quote me on that because I haven't checked them out this year. And yeah, there you go. It's an anniversary event. It's a, if you're looking for something to do, go knock out all the anniversary stuff. Go answer some trivia questions on your alts. It's kind of cool. But this isn't like groundbreaking, oh my God, content in World of Warcraft. No, it's nothing like that. So this is more of, it'll give you something. It's like going to the fair. It gives you something to do. You'll burn a half an hour getting over there, talking to them, logging on to a couple of NPCs, flying around, doing it. It's fine. So, but nothing groundbreaking. The final thing available for the anniversary event is the Blackrock Depths raid. It is only available in Raid Finder this time. I think they realized nobody's going to be putting groups together for this. So just put it in Raid Finder, let people go do it. And if you get stuff, great. If not, who cares? It's for fun or not fun. If I didn't even bother trying to do it because last year was such a pain. And the gear wasn't good, but if you want to go do it, again, it's something to do. Blizzard has no dearth of content in this game. Now, if you're looking for new end game content in the middle of a .5 patch, you're not going to find it. But if you are like, hey, I just want something to go do. I want to log on to WoW and jump into Discord and talk to my friends and run around the game. I don't want to just do laps around Dornogal because Dornogal is not a good city to do laps in, honestly. We can all agree on that. So yeah, go over the anniversary, go do BRD. There's plenty of things to do, even if they're not getting you myth track gear. Right. So anyway, check that out. And then, finally in Legion Remix, phase 4 is now live. This is the final original Legion content phase. So this is going to be Argus, the 3 zones of Argus, Antorus, the raid. You will be able to finally buy the Fellscorn Scythe of the Unmaker and the Tayshalak. I don't know how you say this. It's the sword that, oh God, now I can't remember his name. Argamego, whatever. One of the Titans uses in Antorus. It's a really cool sword. It's like half a regular sword and half like a fire sword. It's cool. It's on one of the vendors. So you'll be able to get those too. And, the Violet Spellwing AOTC mount apparently is available, even though you're technically not supposed to be able to get it. So I guess get it while the getting's good. So from what I've heard, Antorus is actually incredibly difficult. Posts on Reddit and the WoW forums have been saying things like bring a healer. If you're not on 999 verse, be prepared to die a lot. You should know the mechanics. Oh God, they made the ANR fight worse. It's bad. And I think it's not that, they made the content too hard. It's that people were just not ready for this to be difficult. I think people were used to steamrolling the remix content, and this one's actually challenging, which I don't understand. Why would you do that? But they did. So it is difficult. You have to actually do it. I guess some of the fights are cakewalks. If it's just a punch them fight, it's easy. If it's anything that has some sort of a percentage based, it's like if it's a percent of your health, it's going to be really difficult to do. Versus it just does a fixed amount of damage. Those are going to be easy to avoid because you have so much versatility. So, this comes back to design of fight and the fight style. And I just don't like those types of fights that don't scale with or that don't allow your character to outgear them, right? It's still going to hit you really hard. It's like fall damage. If you jump off the edge, you're going to take fall damage the same, whether you're level 10 or level 80. It doesn't matter. You're going to take the same amount of fall damage. And likewise, in some of these fights, you're going to take the same amount of damage if you don't do the mechanics correctly. So, it's just, like I said, it's just a matter of, it is what it is. So, yeah, get into a group, but don't be frustrated when when things don't go smoothly right off the bat. No doubt you've probably already jumped into a few and recognized this, but I have not done it yet. I've been busy with work. So, for me, it's, I'll get to it when I have a chance, but I'm not in a hurry because, first of all, you don't get anything extra special except for those 2 transmog items. You can earn the currency for those in a couple of runs. So if you're not specifically trying to get those 2 things or the Violet Spellwing mount, you don't have to run Antorus if you don't want to. You don't need to do it. But if you do want to run Antorus and you don't want to do it on Raid Finder, you do need to actually do the beginning of the storyline in Argus. So you got to go there. You've got to do it, which that is also very buggy. I feel like as a remix candidate, Legion has been good so far. It's been really good, but it doesn't have the same wild feeling that Miss Pandaria Classic did, or Miss Pandaria Remix had. So am I saying this is a bad thing? No, not necessarily. I'm just saying that it is different and it doesn't feel quite as exciting to go and do stuff. If I'm running a 10 keystone and I'm just punching everything, that's fine. That is fun. But making it so that raids are actually difficult, even if you have high levels of verse, that's not fun. Okay, nobody signed up for that. We signed up to go overpower stuff, even if we have to do it in a group. We want to be able to overpower these things, not feel like, oh, I've got to learn the mechanics on that. Nobody's showing up because they want to do mechanics, okay? Nobody. Anyway, just a thought that maybe we could make these a little easier. Blizzard, just saying. Okay. That's enough of that. The final phase for Legion Remix will be out in 2 weeks, and that is going to be the mysterious Phase 5 that we don't know exactly what it's going to contain, but it sounds like we're going to get something special, Remix exclusive content. So what that will be, we don't know, but we will definitely talk about it when it is available. All right. Let's go on to the Midnight Beta. So there's a couple of things that I wanted to bring up. First of all, they are going to be playtesting the pre-patch event. So this was originally scheduled for November 17th, but it got delayed because I guess they had some technical difficulties. So it is now scheduled for November 21st. So if you're listening to this on November 21st, which is Friday, it will be at 11 a.m. PST on the PTR for patch 11.2.7. So if you want to jump on there, copy your character over and participate in the pre-patch event, you'll be able to see what it is that we're going to be doing. Obviously with some things hidden, they don't want to have spoilers out there, but you'll be able to see some of that stuff and help Blizzard test it, because they don't have good testers anymore because they had to fire them all because of Microsoft's need for increased profit margins. Right. So, so go check that out if you want to go. And I guess there's a Play with the Blues event going on where a bunch of developers are going to be on. So I don't know how that works. And then the other thing is right now they're doing Mythic Plus dungeon testing. So that's going to go until December 2nd. And that will be all Mythic Plus dungeons for season 1 of Midnight. This is actually on the beta. This is not on the PTR. So if you don't have beta access, you won't be able to participate in this one. But if you do have beta access, you can get on there. They'll have sets of gear, your tier sets and weapons and trinkets and all the things that you could possibly want to be able to set this up. It is on the max level zone, which is like Xalatath's something, whatever. So you'll create an instant level 90. So it's a really good option to be able to go on there if you haven't gotten on the beta yet, or if you've been wanting to check out what the end game is going to look like, and some of the Apex talents, you'll be able to get on there and see all that stuff. You just won't be able to do anything except for the Mythic Plus dungeons, and like target dummies and Orgrimmar or Stormwind. So I did go on there and check that out a little bit yesterday, and I will say that the pruning so far, at least for the two classes that I checked, which were Prot Paladin and Blood DK, feels pretty good. It feels pretty good. I made a Prot Warrior too, but I did not get a chance to test that character. So I'm cautiously optimistic about this pruning. The thing that I don't like right now with the beta is the Blizzard default, how should we say, the way the interface works on its own without any add-ons. The style of it just feels off, feels wrong. I feel like I'm missing information. I feel like I'm not getting the nameplates are wrong. They're truncating the names weird. It's not showing me the level. It's not showing nameplates on certain mobs. I don't know. Something just feels off, and I need to play around with the interface a little bit. I'm hoping that my goal in Midnight is to have a default interface. I don't want any add-ons making my interface look a certain way. I want the plain Blizzard default interface. That's what I want in Midnight. Now, will I be able to do that? I don't know. We'll have to see. But that's my goal. So I have been playing around with the interface on the beta a little bit, and it is fun toying around with some of these things. But like I said earlier, it is a little frustrating because it's first of all, it's the beta and things don't always work exactly right, and that's fine. But also it feels lacking. It feels lacking, and it almost feels like when we got into Dragonflight in the very, very beginning, and it was like, this feels a little odd and I can't quite put my finger on it, but something feels off. That's what it feels like now. And so I think it's just, we need to get used to it. And once we get used to it, it'll be fine, but it's different and it's odd. And there's so much negative commentary on the fact that Midnight is going add-on free, or at least add-on light. And people are just looking for excuses and looking for things to nitpick. So I'm wondering if I'm just feeling negative sentiment toward the game right now, and so I'm looking for things to complain about. I don't know. Regardless, you can check all this out through December 2nd if you have beta access. The other thing in the Midnight beta that I wanted to point out, and this is regards Mythic Plus and just groups in general, there are new play style options in the group finder. So if you create a group, you are required to choose one of these options for your group to set kind of the tone for your group. The options are learning, relaxed, competitive, and carry offered. So learning would be if you're new or you haven't played in a long time, or you haven't done a particular thing, maybe you want to learn Mythic Plus. So you put your group out there as a learning group so that people who join that group know this is a learning group. I need to be patient. I need to teach. Or, hey, I also want to learn. Let's learn together. I'm assuming we're going to be able to filter these out so that if I go, I don't want to see the learning groups, they all disappear. I don't want to see whatever, they all disappear. So learning. So yeah, that's for learning the game or learning a new style of content, whether it's Raid, Mythic Plus, or whatever. Relaxed, just here to have fun. That's, you just like chill vibes, whatever you want to call it. That's what that's for. And I don't feel like that's really clear enough for people. I think you need to specify this is a learning group. This is a, we're going to get stoned and do a Mythic Plus for 2 hours group. I don't know. There needs to be something a little bit more clear than just relaxed, because relaxed could be a lot of things. Competitive. So if you're trying to push keys or whatever it is you're doing, competitive, you're expecting people to show up prepared. And then carry offered, which is, I'm assuming you want to be carried, or you're available to carry people. So if it's carry offered, like as in I'm offering a carry, that's a little weird, because then it's like, okay, well, if you're offering a carry, are you expecting people to pay you for that carry? Because that's against the terms of, it just feels a little weird. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this. I think they could probably expand this out a little bit without making it too convoluted. Get rid of the relaxed, have learning, competitive, carry offered, fine. People do that, whatever. But give people options for things like, hey, I want to try really hard, but I'm not going to stress out if we don't complete it on time. Can we have that as an option? Right? I don't know. I just feel like we could be a little bit more clear with these. And maybe this is something we need to live with for a little bit, and then we can say, hey, I've never seen a relaxed key out there. So can we get rid of that one and put something in there that makes sense? I think that would probably help. So, all right. Before we do the TBC stuff, let's just jump into what's going on this week in World of Warcraft. The bonus event for this week is the Arena Skirmish event. You will get the Sign of the Skirmisher buff, which is honor gains from arena skirmishes increased by 50%. You can pick up the quest, the Arena Calls from Archivist for Thrune in Dornogal to win 10 arena skirmish battles, and you'll be rewarded with conquest and honor. The PvP brawl for the week is the Temple of Hot Mogu. Enter the Temple of Hot Mogu for this fast-paced match. For a whole new twist, players will be able to throw the Orb of Power to friendly players in a game of hot potato. Beware, they'll also gain the debuff along with the orb, so choose wisely. We're turning things up to 11 by changing resurrection time to a quick 5 seconds. Who will be able to hold on to power to claim the victory? When you zone in, you'll get the quest Something Different to win a PvP brawl, and you'll be rewarded with conquest, honor, and marks of honor. I don't like it when it's two PvP things, right? So we get the Arena Skirmish event and obviously a PvP brawl, which is a very PvP brawl. It's not like, you're killing NPCs or cooking impossible or whatever. This feels like a very PvP centric week. And I don't love that because I don't like PvPing right now with the way the game is, but it's okay. Not every week is for me. And I'm okay with that. So it's what it is. Let's see what else we have. Oh, the holiday event this weekend on November 23rd will start the Pilgrim's Bounty as the colors of the seasons change. The time has come to celebrate with bountiful feasting during Pilgrim's Bounty. Reflect upon one's good fortune and share with all around you. So this is obviously for the Thanksgiving event in game. If you want to go partake in that, I think this is the one where you level up your cooking. There was one at the Harvest Festival. That's not the cooking one. This is the cooking one. I think you can make like turkey and whatever. I don't know. I haven't done it in forever. It's available from November 23rd through November 30th. So if you want to go check out Pilgrim's Bounty, this is one of the main holidays, but it feels like such a nothing event. I don't know. Maybe there needs to be like a giant turkey boss or something. I think that would be cool. And finally, the 21st anniversary event is ongoing this week. It will continue through through December 7th. So if you are interested in getting over there, like I said, there's a new transmog set plus the tier 2 transmog sets from last year are all still available for badges. So if you want to get over there and get that stuff, you have until December 7th. All right. That's what's going on this week in World of Warcraft. Before we do anything else, I want to talk about really quickly this TBC announcement. So there's a couple things we're going to go over here. And like I said in the beginning, I'm not going to do a main topic of the week this week. I've got so much stuff going on. There's a lot of news that I wanted to get out. And so rather than do a traditional main topic, we're going to kind of use this pre-patch as the main topic. But there's a lot that's going on. It's not just the pre-patch announcement. It's changes to the TBC, what's coming in the Burning Crusade, and things like that. So we're going to jump into that. And there you go.
It's time for the main topic of the week.
All right, so the Burning Crusade anniversary pre-patch will launch on January 13th. This is a big deal. This is what people on the Classic forums and Reddit and everywhere else have been waiting for. I know people are pretty excited. I know that there's some complaining that, we thought it was going to be December. It's fine. We're good. Everybody's good. So the pre-patch will launch on the 13th. That will include the Draenei and Blood Elf races. You can make a Draenei Shaman, a Blood Elf Paladin. No new zones, but you'll be able to use the new talents so you can do Nax and whatever else is you want to do with your new TBC talents. You won't have all access to all the points though, because you'll be level 60. But excuse me, but that's pretty much, that's what's going into the game. So, let's talk about release. So first off, the Burning Crusade pre-patch last time in 2021 was, the pre-patch lasted for 2 weeks, which really wasn't enough time for people to level up their Blood Elves and their Draenei. I feel like 3 weeks is probably a good amount. 4 weeks would probably be a little better, maybe a little too long. I don't know. We'll see. 5 weeks is way too long for a classic pre-patch event like this. There's not that much going on. You go to the Dark Portal, you kill some demons, and then it's pretty much it. There wasn't a whole lot. They didn't know how to do a pre-patch event back then. And then everyone went through the Dark Portal when it released, and it broke. so that was fun. And then, yeah, so that's what we've got going on. So are we going to get release? We don't know yet. We don't know yet when that's going to be. But I have my calendar that I keep track of all these dates, right? So we're still guessing on the midnight pre-patch, but I'm guessing that it's going to be January 20th based on some of the information that got leaked. It's the end of Legion Remix. That would be a really good time for them to kick in the midnight pre-patch. So if you do Burning Crusade pre-patch on January 13th and then midnight pre-patch on January 20th, that gives us 4 weeks for Burning Crusade, will put us at February 10th, and then 5 weeks is typical for a retail patch or pre-patch. That would put us on February 23rd, which is a Monday. And again, this is all guessing. We don't know. And there's probably going to be a Miss Pandaria Classic Phase 4 in there somewhere too, which who knows where that's going to end up. So yeah, this is all guesswork. We don't know anything other than the Burning Crusade pre-patch will be January 13th. Legion Remix ends on January 19th. That's the information we have. So everything else is a guess, but I feel like they're pretty good guesses. So yeah, probably the beginning of February for the Burning Crusade. Now, if we were to, well, let's talk about what's going to happen. So before the pre-patch hits, starting on November 25th and going until January 12th, you will be able to transfer your character to a classic era server if you want. So if you say, I have this character, I love this character, I hate the Burning Crusade, I don't want to do it, I just want to stay and play Nax on this character forever, you'll be able to do that. You can transfer them to classic era from November 25th through January 12th. It is a one-way transfer. Once it is done, you can never go back. You can't change your mind. There will be no copy, okay? You did last time, they did the whole thing where there's a character copy service and you can copy your character to era, and then you have your character continue on to Burning Crusade. They're not doing that this time. You have to physically transfer your character to classic era or it will go to Burning Crusade. So make sure that you are ready for this. Okay, if you've got a classic or anniversary character, like I have anniversary characters, I'm going to have to decide what to do with them. I'm probably just going to continue them all to Burning Crusade. I have got plenty of era characters that I never play. So I feel like I'm good with that. But some people might want to stay on era. So your only option as of right now, and I say as of right now because who knows what Blizzard will do, but as of right now, your only option is to transfer them to era. That's it. No copy. After January 12th, there will be no transfers to era. You are now stuck on Burning Crusade. So if you wait until after the pre-patch launches, it's too late. Actually, they're going to close it before the pre-patch launches. So the 12th will be the end. And yeah, that'll be that. So this is very finite from Blizzard. I was expecting them to have at least a copy or something, but no, there's nothing. It's only one-way transfer for this 2 month and a half period, and that's it. So, yeah, I think that's fine. I feel like the character copy just created a bunch of characters that nobody logged into. People weren't logging into that same character multiple times. I feel like maybe there were some, but for the most part, it didn't really do a whole lot to copy those characters over. So I don't know. We'll see. All right. If you are interested in it, and again, we can talk about corporate greed or whatever it is you want to talk about. But there are the new Outland packs that are available from the store. So this is going to include the mounts. I believe it's the same mount from last time. The Phase Hunter ground mount. They're adding more stuff into it, which is cool. It feels a little weird that we're back at this point again, especially after I just talked about the Brutosaur. But anyway, so there's two different versions of the Outland pack. There's the Outland Heroic pack for $40, and there's the Outland Epic pack for $80. Okay. Now, what do these two entail? Well, I'm glad you asked. The Heroic pack includes the Starshard Nether Drake flying mount. Yes, it is a flying mount. No, you will not be able to fly on it if you have not purchased flying. Okay, you still have to train your flying, but you'll have a flying mount. There's the Cerulean Phase Hunter ground mount. There's the Starshard Whelpling pet, the Exodar replica toy, which I'm not sure what that is. The Naru's Embrace Hearthstone effect, which is a Hearthstone. So these are all for Classic, right? And then in Modern WoW, you get basically a slightly different version, a Modern WoW looking version of all of those same things. The flying mount, the ground mount, the pet, the toy, and the Hearthstone effect. That's what you get for $40. For $80, you also get 30 days of game time, which is a $15 value, and a level 58 character boost, which apparently is a $25 value. Because if you have $40 and then $15 for game time, that leaves you $25 for the boost, which I think a boost is like a $60 value, more or less. And originally it was $40 to get the boost in 2021. So I'm not sure on the finances of all this, but regardless, these are the prices. If you want a boost, if you're hoping for a boost, if that's what you've been waiting for, when do I get a boost? Here it is. It's $80 for the boost. I feel like that's a little steep because really people are only going to buy it for the boost, but it is what it is. And please, if you see people with these mounts, don't try and harass them. Okay, let's not get other emotes banned. All right, let's just acknowledge the fact that this person has money to spend and you don't, and that's okay. They can spend money. It's, we're already in microtransaction hell. What are we going to do? If you don't like it, the proper thing to do is to stop playing the game, not to /spit or /harass your fellow game players. Okay. All right. So that's the Outland pack. And like I said, I don't know when you're going to get the boost. But regardless, it's going to be out at some point. And I don't think you're going to be able to use it for Draenei and Blood Elf characters. I think you have to level those natty. But you will be able to boost something. So if you really want to boost, this is your opportunity. And like I said, you also get 30 days of game time. The Hearthstone effect is cool. The mounts are fine. Gives you 2 more mounts in Modern WoW if you're trying to get the mount achievement. I mean, I'm not saying that this is a bad deal. I wouldn't buy it personally, but some people might want to buy it, and that's fine. Go for it. That's your money to spend, right? $80. That's that's a decent dinner out, right? So maybe you missed date night 1 month. Big whoop. Yeah, your wife won't be mad, right? Right. Okay. Let's talk about some of the changes that are coming to the Burning Crusade. Now, this is where we're going to get a little bit of there's going to be some speculation here. There's also going to be some facts that Blizzard has already given us, but all told, we're just going to go through it. Okay. First off, in the Burning Crusade Anniversary Edition, you will be able to unlock raid attunements account-wide once you complete them the first time. So if you do the raid attunement, Serpentine Cavern, Tempest Keep, Karazhan, all of these raids that are a nightmare to attune yourself to, right? The first time you do it, is the last time you do it, because you will not have to do it on your alts. So if you go through this and you're doing it and you're having a good time, and then your raid team is like, oh crap, our priest just G quit. Hey, can't you switch from your druid to your priest? And you go, yeah, I can switch to my priest. Oh, but I've got to go get raid attunements. Fuck. Nope, you don't. Not anymore. It's available. So yeah, you'll be able to do your raid attunements. I think it's a great idea. I love it. I wish that they would have done this in 2021, but they didn't. And so yeah, there you go. I think this is a sign of Blizzard just willingness to try and keep the spirit of the game alive without actually sacrificing some of the more convenient features like account-wide raid unlocks. There's no reason to not have that, right? Yes, there might be somebody sitting there going, I don't like that because it wasn't there in 2007. Bro, chill, okay? Nobody else is feeling that way. So we're all happy that there's account-wide raid unlocks, okay? The other thing is bind on account heroic keys. So if you get to Revered, you can unlock a heroic version of the dungeon. And that's how you do heroics. Once you get to Revered, you will be able to buy a key for your alt that you can bind on account. You can send it to your alt. They need normal rep to use it. But once they do, they'll be able to get into the dungeon on heroic mode, which again, this is a huge change. This is something that I wish Blizzard had done back in 2021. They didn't, but they're doing it now. And I think this is the way that it's going to be. If there's ever another TBC launch, it's going to include this. I guarantee it. It doesn't make sense to not have these sorts of things in the game. You know, you can say all you want. Oh, it's classic. It shouldn't be like this. This wasn't how it was back in the day. People are used to having warbands now, and so you don't need to give people warbands in Classic, but giving them some account unlock items is good. It's good for the game. It's healthy. Having alts is good for the game. Being frustrated because you need to do a 12-step attunement chain on your alt, that's foolish. That nobody wants that. So bravo on these two items, Blizzard. Thank you. Okay, now we get into some of these weird ones. Raid-wide Lust and Hero. Now, if you're a shaman, or if you have been planning to level up a shaman, if you're Alliance, and you've been looking at this going, oh man, I'm going to have so many raid spots available. In original TBC and in TBC Classic in 2021, heroism and bloodlust only affected your group. So if you're in a raid, a 25-player raid, it only affects your 5-player group. So what would happen is you would have, and then it gave you a cooldown on it. You could use it for 10 minutes. So what happened is there would be the best DPS group. So you'd put a shaman in there. They would pop heroism. Once that drops off, you put another shaman in there. They pop heroism or bloodlust again, and you continue on that way because there was no sated or exhaustion debuff. Now what's going to happen is it's going to be raid wide, okay? And it will give you the exhaustion debuff, so you won't be able to use it again for 10 minutes. But if you kill the boss, it resets it. If you wipe to the boss, it resets it. So you will always have hero for every boss attempt, which is fantastic. Yes, maybe you could min-max it a certain way to make it better if you had it per group. This is far superior because it's a simpler solution. It's easy. Now, does this mean there's going to be fewer shamans available or fewer shaman raid slots available? Maybe. It depends on your raid group, honestly. But I think that overall, this is a really big win for raiding in TBC. There's no reason to stick with the old way just because that's how it was back in the day. Let's just make it the correct way. Raid wide, it affects raid wide. That's it. That's all we need to do. No more games slotting people around. It's a nightmare. It's a nightmare. We don't need to do that. So, So raid wide Lust and Hero for shamans in TBC Anniversary. I'm curious to see if they make other changes as we go, as we get closer to it, as Blizzard starts going through the PTR and testing some of these things. I'm curious to see what else they may change in the Burning Crusade, because quite honestly, this is a big change, and I'm glad they did it. I'm glad they had the courage and the bravery to do it. Right. So, okay. Next up is Terracone. So Terracone is a herb that you can get only in Terracar Forest. It's hard to get because there's only a few spawn points. It's a very valuable herb. It is used in a lot of DPS potions and combat potions, and yeah, it's a pain. So the prices were skyrocketing on TBC Classic in 2021. They are increasing the respawn rates and adding additional nodes for Terracone, which is fantastic, because honestly, why not? Let's not have these economy bottlenecks anymore, like the Black Lotus. Like, I don't even know what at this point in Classic Anniversary what there is. I mean, there were so many herbs that it was such a pain. Mountain Sorrow Sage or Ice Cap or whatever, it doesn't matter. They're making Terracone more accessible to people. It's still going to be expensive. Don't misunderstand. It's still going to be hella expensive. So if you don't have some, you're going to have to spend money to get some. But they're just making it easier to get. So you might have an opportunity to actually get some. So there you go. All right. They're adding guild banks on launch. So in the Burning Crusade back in 2007, one of the features that was added during the Burning Crusade, not at launch, but during the Burning Crusade, I think it was in the Black Temple patch 2.1, they added guild banks. And so if you're running a guild, you know that you have guild bank alts that have to carry all your stuff. Maybe you have 3, 4, 5 bank alts, and it's usually on the GM's account. And it's a pain because only the GM can access those characters legally, unless they give access to other people, which has happened. I've seen it happen. Now everybody's going to have access to the guild bank. And instead of waiting until phase 2 or 3 or whenever it was back in 2021, it's going to be available right off the bat. So that's huge for guilds. Guilds are going to have a rough enough time going from 40 player to 10 and 25 player. So yeah, there you go. That's pretty cool. And then the last bit of change to TBC is that they are adding the Dragonflight style UI edit to the Burning Crusade client, which, holy moly, that is fantastic news. It's not perfect. I checked it out on the PTR today. It's not perfect, but it's so much better than trying to use 20 different mods to move your interface around. It's the same thing. It's got the grid. You can line things up. It's not perfect, but it's really good. So I'm happy with that. You don't need to have a bar mod. You don't need to have move it or move anything or whatever these mods are called. Dominoes, bartender, all of these different add-ons. You can still do that especially if you want them to change the appearance of your bars. Like, well, I like it to look this way. Yeah, sure, go for it. But if you don't want to have a bunch of mods, but you do want your interface to look a little bit nicer, you can now do that in the Burning Crusade. So there you go. That's the changes that are coming to TBC Anniversary, at least the changes that have been announced so far. Will we see more changes? Probably. We probably will, especially as people start testing this stuff. But for the most part, I think Blizzard has an idea of what they want to do. Now, are we going to see this go to the Wrath of the Lich King, and they're putting all this stuff in? Are we going to go to the Wrath of the Lich King? I would say probably, but the reason they haven't announced it yet is they probably don't know for sure yet. I think they're waiting until they know, yes, for sure we are going to Wrath. Otherwise, yeah, it's in a weird state. Classic is still in a weird state, but at least people are happy. We got Throne of Thunder coming on December 9th. We've got the TBC pre-patch coming on January 13th. Things are much better and much happier now. The final thing that I wanted to mention about this is that hardcore servers, the anniversary hardcore servers, will not progress into the Burning Crusade. So I know there's a whole TBC hardcore movement right now. If you're playing TBC or if you're playing hardcore right now, that character on the hardcore server will not move onto TBC. I think there's going to be a way to transfer your hardcore characters onto TBC servers or progression servers if you want to continue on, but they will no longer be hardcore. So you could do hardcore yourself with the add-on and all that stuff in the Discord. You can still do that, but it won't be an official hardcore server anymore, which honestly, I think it's fine. I think hardcore is one of those things that it worked fine by itself for years. And then Blizzard added in stuff for it and it was like, okay, this is fine, but it wasn't necessary. And so, yeah. So anybody who's planning to continue on hardcore into the Burning Crusade, that's not going to happen. So, you just have to do it yourself. And there you go. That's everything that's coming to the Burning Crusade in the beginning of the year, January, February timeline. Like I said, not a whole lot of stuff, but I just did want to separate it because there's a little bit more than just a typical news item. And this, like I said in the beginning, this week was kind of a news focused podcast. So kind of mixed things up a little bit. So I apologize that there's no good rants or history of microtransactions or anything like that. We'll get back on track with that stuff next week. Like I said, I had some technical issues before. I'm still working through those. I have some ideas about what I want to do. I decided I don't want to go with Riverside. They had too many things that I didn't like about that. And so I will figure out a different option going forward. Anyway, before I wrap up the show, there's one more thing that I wanted to mention. And this isn't really news, but it is kind of related to the TBC anniversary. So I was excited about TBC anniversary, and I wanted to log onto my character and see that he's ready to go to the Burning Crusade, even if I'm not going to play it. I got excited. So I logged onto my character. I was still in the guild that I was in previously, which is the Adept Scholar Society. And I was like, oh, that's cool. And when I logged on, one of the people who I remembered from being there from before, G-quit. And I thought, oh, that's unfortunate. Whatever. People leave guilds all the time. I jumped over onto the Discord server and the guild has had some issues. I guess there was a lot of problems over loot and raid groups and whatever, but they're down from 5 raid teams to 1, and 1-ish. I guess there was 2, but they just left like last week or 2 weeks ago. And it's a bummer because I was somewhere in the back of my mind, I thought, well, maybe I'll jump back into a raid team, and I don't know if that's going to happen, but I just, everybody knows this, everybody's gone through this, but it sucks when you have that guild that you're like, ooh, this is a cool guild with cool people, and it doesn't last. It doesn't last, and it's unfortunate. And, it's sometimes those are the curveballs that life throws you. So there you go. All right, we're going to move on from that. That's going to wrap up our show for today. Thank you so much for listening and for watching. I really do appreciate it. It is always a pleasure and a privilege for me to get on this microphone and speak to you. If you are enjoying the show and you would like to help us out, you could consider leaving us a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Those really help out the distribution. You could also consider leaving a comment on Spotify or a review on Apple Podcasts. Those also really help out. And if you leave one of those, I'll read it on the air. So there you go. If you want to get a hold of me directly, you can reach out to me on Twitter or Blue Sky. I'm at Denethar on both of those platforms. That's probably the best way to get a hold of me. There's a Twitter account I have a Twitter account, and then there's a Twitter account for the podcast. I separated them for whatever reason. But sending it to me directly is probably the best way. If you want to send me a message or at me or whatever you want to do, it's fine. I will respond to you on Twitter. And the other way that you can help us out, if you're interested in doing so, is by joining our Patreon. You can go to patreon.com/Azeroth United. This is where you can give your IRL money to help out with the production of the show, some of the different costs and the equipment, the microphone or whatever. It all helps. Like I've said before, I'm not doing this to make money off of people. I'm doing this for fun and for the love of it. But if you want to throw me a couple bucks and help out with some of these things, I would be really appreciative. It means a lot to me, and I am so grateful to the people who do that. We do have 2 new patrons this week. We have John Riley and Macus. So thank you to both of you for joining us. Really do appreciate it. And it just, like I said, it's very special to me to know that people actually care and want to help and feel like they want to support me. That it's a weird feeling. So I do suffer from a little bit of imposter syndrome sometimes. So it does feel weird. I'm like, do these people know that I'm an idiot? I don't think they know that. So anyway, thank you so much. And I did want to thank our friend of the show patrons. That is Judge Omni, Stuglife, Thelial, Greybeard, Raven, and now Macus. Thank you all so much. You definitely help make Azeroth United possible. Okay. And that's going to wrap up our show for today. This is quite a wild one. Sometimes you just gotta play the cards that are dealt to you, and there you go. So thank you again. I really do appreciate it. Remember to be good to each other out there. That's a real life person on the other side of that keyboard, and whether they're playing TBC Classic or Throne of Thunder or Midnights or Legion Remix or any other version of World of Warcraft or any game or just whatever. Just smile and be kind to people. It doesn't hurt to be nice, and you don't need to get the last word in or get someone. You can just nod and smile, and there you go. That's it. All right. Take care. I love you all, and I'll see you in Azeroth.